Hey y'all, it's Joefer here, the Cranky Old Gay Guy. Whew. Today we are going to be talking about gay men and promiscuity. Are gays more promiscuous? Is this a fact? Or is it a fictitious stereotype? Well, let's see. If a woman sleeps around and has, I think something I was reading online, there was a study in The Guardian. Well, they did a report on it, but it's based on a BBC study. So this is pertaining to Britain. If a woman has more than 4 sex partners in her entire life, she's a slut. And a man, I think he can have up to 14. And after 14, some say 15, he becomes promiscuous. And a gay man, on the other hand, they found that there's only like a 1% difference between how many sex partners a straight man has and a gay man has. I find that hard to believe because I know that if I go back to when I came out, there was a lot more than that number, okay? We're talking a lot more. Now, I guess it would really depend, too, on what you're calling sex. Does sex mean a penetrative thing in the bum? Or does it mean oral? Or does it mean just touching and getting off? Because if we're encompassing all of those into the meaning, well, my numbers are off the chart. Not to boast or brag, of course, but opportunity exists when you are younger. I think a lot more opportunity than when you're my age right now. And it's not seen as promiscuous. It's seen as playing the field or getting experience or just having fun. And oftentimes you are promiscuous because maybe you are seeking a relationship, but you have to sample all the cookies before you find the one that you want to eat. Does that make sense? Kind of like Goldilocks. Now, she only did like 3 bears. But in the gay world, Goldilocks, if that is the gay man, is going to sample a lot more porridge and sleep in a lot more beds than just 3. And they aren't necessarily going to be bears. Because in the gay world, bears are something not like bears in the straight world, where it's an actual bear. Do you know what I mean? So to answer the question, are gays more promiscuous? Again, I read an article in The Guardian, which was based on a BBC study. I read an article that was on a BBC news site somewhere online. Don't ask me to cite the reference because I did not write down the URLs. And this was like 3 days ago when I started reading about this. And then there was a study somewhere in the United States, but I think it was out of a southern state. And it said that gay men, which, by the way, was just a passing quote in this article because it was about straight men and how they have a lot of sex partners because biblically, they are designed to spread their seed and procreate with as many women as possible, while women are supposed to not do that. I guess the women can't spread their eggs like men can spread their seeds. There was a religious twist to it that just kind of harped on it. And then it said something briefly about gay men being promiscuous to the extent of, hurting society. So that study, I'm guessing they didn't really even research it and take a poll or talk to people. They just kind of sat there and wrote this article. So let's just push that one aside, because articles like that make me cranky. Because if you actually sit down to write an article, please, if you're reading the studies and you're taking information out of them, treat it like you would a term paper in school. You cite your references, okay? I guess they're just called citations when we're talking about this in a study. But if you're doing a term paper, you're going to have a reference page which tells where you pulled all this information from. And you can't just say the internet like I'm doing now, because that wouldn't really be a sound research paper. Now, this is just a podcast and a video channel video of the Cranky Old Gay Guy show. Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Joefer, the Cranky Old Gay Guy, if you didn't know. But I did, like I said, I didn't cite this. This is just something I read. It's just something that piqued my interest. And I often hear, especially in right-wing circles, not that I hang out in them, but I get it online and I get it by watching TV. And you hear, if you listen to AM radio, there's a lot of anti-gay bias on there too. It's subtle. They're not saying, take down the gays, but they make references and bad jokes and imply that someone is gay, and that's a bad thing. So I do hear it, and it's almost always based on some kind of religious belief system that they're taught in church, that gays are evil and promiscuous and spread disease and are horrible people and dress in women's clothes and convert your children into being just like them. Another topic for another time. So to answer the question, are gays more promiscuous? I say no. I think that if straight men, and straight men, by the way, do have the opportunity to sleep around a lot, especially if you go to a meat market bar, which is just a dive bar, and you stay late, and the women that go in there are looking for love. They might be looking for more of a love into a relationship kind of thing, but they're looking to hook up, and the men that are there are looking to hook up. And if they just went in for a drink, they wouldn't be there at closing. Okay? They just wouldn't. I know they might get off work late and have to go there for a drink. Well, if you get off work late, why do you have to go for a drink? Why don't you just go home if you've worked late? So I'm assuming you're tired. Just saying. But I believe that gays probably have more opportunities to hook up, simply because in the gay world, it's a different mindset, and love and sex aren't necessarily tied together. They can be, but sex can just be sex, and sex can just be socializing, and sex can be used as a way to meet people. Sex is a way to network. You probably don't get a lot of networking in straight sex situations, but you do in the gay world. Absolutely. I know people that had introduced me to people or told me about things, so I could go meet someone else, not in a sex way, but just because I had met them through some kind of a hookup, and, we become friends. So that's networking, right? Yeah. Straight guys, not so much that way. They probably network through sporting events, or sitting in the same bar watching a sporting event, or just through work. I doubt many straight men network through their wives or lovers. I mean, they can meet other couples and then be introduced to guys, and they might become friends, but it's probably not a real network situation where you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and they hook you up that way. I mean, it does happen. I don't think it's as common as it is in the gay world, where if someone likes you and thinks you're a good person, and they have a friend who needs something you can provide, then they refer you. I just don't think it happens as much in the straight world. Also, if women didn't have this thought that love has to be attached to sex, I think that straight men would be just as promiscuous as gay men. Now, I am not nearly as promiscuous as I once was, because I am older now and I don't have that same drive or desire to do those things. I've experienced things that, I don't need to experience them again. You know what I mean? I think you do. So to answer the question again, I know I keep saying that, and I am going to answer it. Are gay men promiscuous? Or gay men are promiscuous? Is it fact or is it fiction? A fictitious stereotype? I think that it's probably a little bit of both, because it would depend on the situation. If you were living in a city where women had the same thought patterns as men in regards to sex, I think that heterosexuals would probably overrun gay men in the opportunity to be promiscuous, because there'd be so many more of them. So percentage wise, it might be very close, but if you're actually counting bodies, straight men would win out, because they would be hooking up all the time. While gay men tend to be a lot more selective on who they're hooking up with. There are some who will, a hole's a hole, and they'll just go for it. But that's pretty much how all the straight men I know have behaved in their life. Is it's available, they'll take it. While a gay man doesn't. Some do, but for the majority, I think that they're pretty selective on who they're going to hook up with. They'll talk to you, but it doesn't mean that they're going to hook up with you. So, yes, gay men are promiscuous when you compare them to straight men in certain situations. However, if situations were equal, straight men would be far more promiscuous than gay men. Because in the gay world, sex is not taboo. I mean, it is within their upbringing, the families, but once you're out and you're in the community, it's not a big deal. While in the straight world, you're taught that sex is sacred. And when you're out and about, you're not going to encounter the same kind of partner that thinks that sex is just sex. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't have to say, do you know what I mean? Because I think you do know what I mean. Gay men are promiscuous. Yes, some are and some aren't. In the gay world, every couple I know, oh boy, with the exception of one or two, and, I think they're probably getting some on the side as well. Relationships are open in some form or fashion, in that they allow play outside of the primary relationship. And it seems really, really healthy in that the relationships stay together, and there are far fewer divorces in gay male couples than there is in straight male or straight couples in general. Lesbians, I haven't seen any studies on that, but I think lesbians, this is a stereotype, tend to hook up sooner, get married more than gay men. But I don't know if they stay together. I just haven't seen anything on that. While gay men, I know several gay men who have been married and have gone through divorce. And those people, I think, boy, at least one of them I know is because his whole idea was a very traditional hook up, get married. It's just the two of you, no outside anything. And as that turned out, half of the couple doesn't feel that way. Right. I just don't see many open straight marriages. I know of straight couples that swing, but I don't know of any that actually just say, hey, we're open. When I say swing, I mean they swing as a couple, like they'll go to a party and then they hook up with another couple. While open, I mean that one of the partners can have a lover on the side. Very, very European. But I just don't see that here. So overall, yes. In the in the current society we live in, I do think that gay men are more promiscuous, but you shouldn't label all gay men as that, because some gay men just aren't. Have I gotten cranky over that? Oh boy. Well, in the gay world, if someone calls you a whore or a slut, it's not really a slight. It's just like a, hey, friend, While if you're a straight guy and someone calls your woman a whore or a slut, or even you a whore or a slut, you might get offended by that, depending on who says it. So no, that hasn't made me cranky. I guess the only thing that would make me cranky in this whole thing would be if people just assume that you are without really knowing you and knowing your circumstances. That's it. All right, everybody. Have a good one. And stay cranky, my friend. Stay cranky. Bye-bye.
Promiscuity, is it really a problem? Promiscuity, ain't it just plain fun? Have you ever tried it, or did you stop in shame? Do you look down on those who are promiscuous? Do you just need someone to blame? Are gay men more promiscuous? Aren't straight men just the same? Aren't gay men just more liberal? Ain't it all just the same game? Gay men are just men who often seek the same thing, while straight men put up walls. For them, sex is just a game. Gay men see sex and love as two very different things, although sometimes together. When apart, there is no shame. If a man sleeps around, why does he need a label? And if a man sleeps with a man, does that not just show he's more able to love? What makes it so wrong? Why do we see it as wrong? When a woman has more than 4 men in her bed in her lifetime, she's called a slut. While a man having more than 15 women in his bed in his lifetime, he's called a stud. But a gay man who has more than these numbers in his bed in a year, he's called a normal gay, full of hope and full of cheer. So who is more promiscuous, the gay man or the straight? If all things are being equal, there would be no debate. Both types have opportunity, both types, they can get laid. Who wins out just tells us the one whose game is best well played. Promiscuity, it's not really a problem. Promiscuity, it's not to be feared. If you open up your hearts and your minds, you might enjoy yourself in your remains.